The MedSearch app is a health information directory that allows users who are in search of specific medications or health services such as hospitals, clinics, pharmacies, or even veterinary services to quickly and easily access what they're looking for. It's available on Google Play Store and you can find it on Apple App Store.
Maximum of their integrity. Okay, so in today's discussion, we are going to talk about pharmacy and innovation. We are live on Facebook on the Capital FM Facebook page, and we are also streaming live on Meet Your Pharmacist Facebook page, and of course, together with several other Facebook platforms, including those for my guests, as I now invite them to introduce themselves. On my immediate right-hand side, I have with me Pharmacist Zanga. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. How are you, McLaurin?
Yes, it's good to have you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. I've always wanted to be on Capital FM.
Oh.
So it's a dream come true.
Oh, wow. Guess what? Your dream has actually been as good as mine, because I have been really longing to have you here.
Thank you very much. So new dawn. So dreams do come true in the new dawn government.
Amen. Amen to that. Interesting. All right. Briefly tell us a bit about yourself.
All right. Like you've mentioned, my name is Zangam Sakozo. I'm a pharmacist by profession. I've been in the medical field for the past 15 years. I first did my diploma at Evelyn Horn back in 2009. Then went on to do my degree, bachelor's degree at Apex University. Then went on to work at Levi Mwanawasa University Teaching Hospital. Now I'm the head of department at Kefre General Hospital. And also an innovator. I'm the CEO and co-founder of MedSearch Zambia.
Okay.
And I know we'll talk more about MedSearch
Zambia. Oh, yes. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Surely you can put a bit of a full stop or perhaps a comma to that for now.
True.
And let me introduce another guest on my immediate left-hand side. He's the first to those of you on Facebook you may have seen before. And I'm introducing none other than the handsome Joe Kanema. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Uncle Mark.
Are you doubting it that you're handsome? People that are looking in that camera, please make a comment in the section as to whether I'm lying or not. But welcome again.
Thank you so much.
Briefly, for the sake of this show and to those that could be listening to you for the first time, tell us a bit who you are. Tell us a bit about who you are.
Thank you. And I want to say thank you for this opportunity once more to come here. It's always a pleasure. And I want to say good afternoon to the listeners and all those that are watching us via Facebook Live. My name is Joe Kanema, and I'm a pharmacist.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a pharmacist, and I currently I'm working with Westgate Pharmacy.
Okay.
Yeah, but then I do my other things as well on the other side. I'm the founder of PMP Pharmacy Consultancy. And as well as at the moment, we're also in the late stage of developing Wana Healthcare, which is an online e-commerce platform store where you can buy healthcare products, and we deliver to you wherever you are in Zambia.
Wow. Okay. Interesting already. Interesting. So, to the listener out there and those of you watching on Facebook, the other platforms that you can make use of, especially for those that are not able to get us on the frequency 99.7, that we are live on Facebook, of course, but then we are also available on the website, which is www.capitalfm.com, and also via the Radio Garden and the Mingotainment application. So if you have got any of those, then you can still join into the fun and be part of an exciting discussion that we have ahead of us. As I said before, we are discussing today innovation in pharmacy. I believe most of you that perhaps may not have a full idea of what the profession of pharmacy is, or that you may be compelled to believe and know is that this is just a profession that looks at drugs. After all, even the word pharmacy itself, it comes from the word drug, okay? But the question is that all that there is to do once you do pharmacy? Is that the only thing that you end up doing, to just count tablets? We will find out about this and many more. Let me quickly invite the two gentlemen that I have. I will begin with pharmacist Kanema. As I have said already before, that people are so much into the attitude of believing that pharmacy is all about just counting tablets. I have grown to learn through my little years of practice. By the way, just like you also did mention, I also do share some experience in the profession. And I think I have worked for close to 7 years, getting into 9, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But at the moment, I'm studying at the University of Zambia. And I'm looking forward to be called pharmacist like you. All right. But that aside, in my little years of work experience, I have grown to understand that I have been subjected to. I mean, I have come to appreciate the fact that when you do pharmacy, that is not all that there is. It's not the end of the world. There are so many franchises actually that begin to open up. Let's take it from the background of how it all began. What have we always been known as the profession of pharmacy?
Well, thank you so much for that question. So to really answer your question, we need to understand what pharmacy is. Yeah. So in basic terms, contemporary, what has been known is that pharmacy is a healthcare science. Yeah, basically that combines medical science with chemistry. So it's sort of like a bridge between medical science and chemistry. So usually involves the discovery of drugs. It involves distribution of drugs. It involves also ensuring that patients use the drugs in the right quantities, in the right amounts. It also involves patient advice, among many other things. So this is basically what traditionally we've been known for. And of course, although that's tradition, but there are other many things that we can do as pharmacists, even as pharmacy technologists. But this is basically what we've been known for.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Pharmacist Zanga, do you share a different view, or what's your take on what have we been known for as professionals in this career?
Just like what pharmacist Kanema said, that is what the world, the country knows. I think you do remember when you were young, the only time that you would see a person, you didn't even know the name of the person. You would just be told to go by a certain window. When you see the doctor, you do your lab and everything, and the doctor writes a paper and they tell you to go to a certain window and get your medication. And that is what we all knew what pharmacy was. Just a person who be at the window, read and give you medication. But pharmacy is more than that.
Oh, yeah.
Like just like pharmacist Joel said, we do counseling. When you come to the pharmacy, we're not only going to give you medication. I have to look at the medication I'm giving you. Was it stored properly? Am I giving it in the right condition? As I give you that medication, I need to talk to you. Do you understand what I'm giving you? Apart from that, we even now going to innovation. That is what pharmacy is. Pharmacy is broad. It is not only confined to a person being in this room with a small window. We do clinicals as pharmacy personnel. We go around looking at what the patient in the ward is taking. We intervene as pharmacy personnel to say this is not what they're supposed to be taking. They're supposed to be taking that. So pharmacy is beyond what the world knows.
Oh, wonderful. So, having brought out the word innovation, I am compelled to believe that when you have trained as a pharmacy personnel, there still remains room for you to still go ahead and pursue other frontiers. Not only that, you still have this ability to probably, of course, exhaust your potential,
Yes, very true.
which, of course, might not really be in the full line with the calling or the passion for pharmacy.
Yes, true.
Maybe as a way of setting up a stage. What then does innovation, as it were, involve?
Innovation is coming up with a new way of doing something, solving a problem. Innovation has now come into play because of the COVID-19. The advent of COVID-19 has brought about different ways of doing things. We're now calling it the new normal. A long time ago, you would only go out to buy food, but now food can be delivered to you because of innovation. A long time ago, you have to go and buy medication, but now because of innovation, we have like pharmacists can name the application they're working on. Medication will be delivered to you. So innovation opens up doors for new opportunities. Innovation opens up different pathways that one can take, even through pharmacy. It is because of innovation that we're able to take our profession to a different and better level.
ultimately, the whole instance is to make life easy and take advantage of each and every situation.
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
Okay, Pharmacist Kanem, I can see you nodding your head. Something looks like it's heating up into your mind.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what Zanga has said. So when we're talking about innovation, we're talking about, first of all, number one, a new way of doing things. Sometimes it might not be new. It might be that something has already been there, but it's a different way of doing things. So, like the example that is given, previously people used to go to the pharmacy or used to go to the supermarket, for instance, to buy products and items that they wanted. But with innovation now, especially with e-commerce, you can be able to buy things online and then they are delivered to where you are. So it is something that's new, but at the center of innovation itself, number one is to basically improve people's lives.
Oh,
Is
yes.
to bring something that is going to improve people's lives. And I think I was just nodding because I was just agreeing with what you were saying. So basically in pharmacy, when we talk of innovation in pharmacy, we're talking about new ways of doing things that are going to improve people's lives, patients' lives, because that's what pharmacy is all about.
Oh, yes.
It's about the patient, is to improve people's lives. So innovation in pharmacy basically talks about new ways of doing things other than just dispensing medicine, other than just being on the window there dispensing medicine. But there are other things that we can do that are new, that are different, but are going to bring value to the profession, are going to bring value in the patient's life.
Okay. Christabel Chileshe Kambafuile, good to know that we are together. Isaac Mswatile, this is my classmate. Hey, my brother, good to know that we are together. We also have got Kalumbu Kakoma. Please tell us where you are streaming from. It's good that we're together. And my very good sister, Hilda Liswani Soliwakala, she's in Kasempa right now. Good to know that Aneva Kasempa Dujitu won't say. Thank you very much. Please stay right here on Facebook Live. Of course, share the link to as many people that you would wish to be on to be part of this discussion. Share the link to as many as you can, and at the same time make use of the comment section to ask whatever you wish to say. We've got Rosaria Mianda, who is also part of the show together with us. Thank you very much. Don't forget, we're live on Facebook, and for those of you that cannot catch us on Facebook live, you can tune into 99.7, and if you don't have access to any of that, you can stream live on either of these options, either the www.capitalfm.com or via the Radio Garden and Mingotainment application. All right. I also wish to share some kind of a view and a take out of what you said. I'm compelled to believe that innovation, or maybe before I get into innovation, one thing that I believe is that education does not necessarily teach us to just know things and then it ends there. I believe that for true education to be accomplished in one's life, it should bring out, or it should stimulate someone to feel the need of bridging a gap, and better still help identify pathways within which they can develop solutions to certain challenges and common problems of the society. And I believe with innovation coming on board, it could actually be a better route that one can apply the knowledge that they get from school to reach out to people and solve problems. So let's now bring innovation into the career of pharmacy. What mainly would innovation involve if we were to bring it in pharmacy?
Thank you so much. So there are a number of things or a number of points that would help me answer your question. But for the sake of this conversation that we're having, I'll just point out maybe about two. Yeah. So for instance, like I mentioned, what we're trying to do at Wana Healthcare, basically we saw a gap in the way that healthcare products are delivered and supplied in this country. So with innovation, even in pharmacy, it takes you as an innovator to see a gap Because basically, you remember in the first place, we talked about being able to provide value, not just coming up with something that's new, but providing value.
All right.
So number one, when you see a gap in pharmaceutical, the way pharmaceutical services and products are being offered, then you can, when you identify the gap, then you try to fill in that gap. So basically, what we're trying to do, like in our cases, for instance, is we've seen that there's a gap in the supply and distribution of healthcare products in different parts of the country. So what do? We want to make it easy for accessibility. We want to make it easy for a patient who's in where I come from in Mwinilunga to receive high-end products that are only in Lusaka that they can't get in Mwinilunga or in Kasempa, basically, for instance. So that is basically what innovation in pharmacy is all about. Being able to see a gap and being able to fill in that gap. Of course, that is going to bring value to the patient or to the end user. So that's basically what it entails.
In fact, you want to say something?
I wanted to agree with what Pharmacist Kanema said. 2 years ago,
Yes.
When me and my co-founder, Dr. Moses Mata, most of the time when we would meet and talk about work, talk about what is going on, what is trending, there would always be one problem that would come. And remember, earlier we had said an innovation solves a problem. And the problem that we were facing was access to health information. It still remains a challenge for the majority of the Zambians. Me and my partner, co-founder, we became directories for people. Now, if you're looking for medication, the first person that you call is someone who works in the hospital. Do you know where I can buy this medication from? Do you know where I can see a cardiologist? And we realized there's a gap. So we know there are people that are offering healthcare services.
Yeah.
And we know there are people who are looking for healthcare services. So how do we bring them to one place? And this is where innovation now comes in. And we know there are other gaps that are there in pharmacy, in the medical field. And this is where now innovation has to come in. So it takes, like what you've said, education is important. Education lays the foundation for you. Education makes you understand what is going, understands the environment. So for me who has done pharmacy, I was able to understand my environment and say, wait, there is a gap somewhere, and that is health information. What can I do to solve this problem? And that is when now innovation plus education comes to meet, and we're able now to come up with a better solution. And that is how we're able to come up with different platforms that people are able to use to have easy access to health information. Our number one person that we're trying to help is the end user, who's an ordinary Zambian.
Okay. Well, that's very, very true. In fact, it is as though you spoke my mind, because just in addition to what you said, you see, we're in a time where people just believe that they can only get education and get a job from it. Okay, there are very few people that actually are doing education with the intention of getting knowledge itself. Because you see, it's one thing to get education and to get in employment. We have got people that are in employment yet with no education. Only that the people that are educated actually have got an advantage because they have been to school, and so they have so many things that they've been exposed to, which make them to comprehend things easily. But much more, like you rightly said, after you've been to school, like in the career of pharmacy, you would have easily identified a gap after, for instance, having learned that health services have to be taken as close as possible to families and individuals in the society. So knowing that health services reach up to a certain level, and there are certain individuals that are deprived of such kind of opportunities. For you who is learned, you would easily know how to bridge such a gap.
Very true. The thing is here, education, we need to change. There should be a change of mindset.
Okay.
So at the moment, education is everything. As in, yes, education plays a very important role. And majority of the people will end there, let me get educated, let me find a job. But that is not what education is teaching you. Education is teaching you now to think beyond what you know. And that is when now innovation has to come through. Like you said, we've got people who are doing very well, who are less educated.
Yeah.
I've got a friend of mine, he's got a master's degree in mechanics, and someone who's in charge is someone just who did a diploma in mechanics. But because of the way the owner of the company thinks, he thinks beyond just the box. He thinks beyond how can I how can I improve the lives of many Zambians? How can I contribute to Zambia going from one place to another? And that is where now innovation has to come through. That is where now you have to get education and not just get your paper and be with it and say, I'm just going to do what my paper tells me. If I just took and say, look, pharmacy, I'm just supposed to dispense medication and talk to clients, that is all. But I brought in innovation. How can I take health services to that client who is in Minalunga? How can I take health services to that person who is in Chipata? How can I bring health services to people as close as possible? And that is now when innovation now kicks in. So I'm now getting my pharmaceutics, my pharmaceutical chemistry, my pharmacology. How do I take all this to a person who's just at home? Because we're moving forward. 5 years ago, if you had a phone, it will only be for one thing, and that is just social media. But now we're moving away from that. We're now seeing majority of the people now coming up how do we improve someone's life. If there's one industry that is doing very well, it's the fintech industry, the finance industry. We have so many applications that are doing with money, how to transfer money and everything. And that is innovation, because now they realize majority of the people will not move with money from one place to another. I would rather I have money, and money is in my phone. Even if I'm attacked, a person will be able to steal my phone, but they won't be able to have access to
the money.
And that is innovation. And someone came up, you've got education. How can I improve this service in Zambia? Let me come up with a different solution. And that is what we are doing in pharmacy. So if you've got someone who's sick and they're at home, I remember I had a friend of mine, like my entrepreneurship journey is because of the things I've gone through and adding education to it. A friend of mine was not feeling well, and he needed medication, and he was in pain. And the only thing that was in mind was, I need to go into town to buy medication. But he's not feeling well, so how does someone who's not feeling well be able to go into town? In town, you find the pharmacy, and the pharmacist is waiting for you, but the person is not feeling well at home. So now the question is, how do we improve access to health information to someone who's not feeling well? How about coming up with an application? And that is how we came up with the application, the MedSearch Zambia app, where people are able now to find the nearest hospital, people are able to find the nearest pharmacy, regardless of your location. And you'll be able now to find that medication that you've been prescribed for. You're able to find that doctor looking for. It might be a cardiologist, it might be a nutritionist. You'll be able to find all that in the comfort of your home. Why did we do that? Because we want to improve access to health information to people out there. And that is now involving education and innovation to improve the lives of many Zambians.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. Of course, not with the intention of preempting that aspect. I will give you still much more room so that you could explain further on even how the service you've just mentioned can be further accessed. Of course, to the listener out there, don't forget we are live on Facebook. We are also live on the Mingo Tenment Garden. The Mingo Tenment application and the Radio Garden. Better still, you can check us out on www.capitalfm.99.7.com and live on Facebook, or better still, tune into 99.7. I must make very quick mention that what we are discussing actually is not to discourage education, neither are we degrading education. What we are trying to emphasize is that education ought to be used in its right place. And education actually should not just make us to be limited to think it is the only thing that should get us a job. I hope I am preaching something. Okay.
Amen.
I just want to make a small comment over what you've said, especially regarding to us as pharmacists and pharmacy professionals in general. When you look at how our thinking and our mindset is that we are sort of technician based, all right? So we finish pharmacy school. What's the first thing that you look for? You look for a job, because you are a technician, because you want to work for somebody, and this is what we need to change. We need to have that paradigm shift, that change in our mindset to say it's not just about me going out there to find a job, but what else can I do that can change the way things have been done? What else can I do to contribute to the pharmaceutical industry in Zambia. And you might understand that our industry is growing, and there's need, especially for us young pharmacy professionals out there. There's need for us to be involved at that level. For us to be involved, we need to be uncomfortable. We need to be uncomfortable doing the same things over and over. So there has to be new ways that has to be done for us to grow our industry to a level where it can be able to contribute, at that level, even to the country at large. So basically, what I wanted to say is we need to be uncomfortable with the way that things have been done over and over. So for us, when we are uncomfortable, then we can be able to begin to come up with new things that can help us to contribute positively to our pharmaceutical industry.
Yes, something just actually got into my mind right now. The mistake that we're making mostly is that when we are uncomfortable, what we tend to think is that maybe the uncomfortability is due to the space and the place in which we are, forgetting that actually we can still dig more for the comfort that we are longing for into our minds and be able to bring it out. Okay, for instance, here's a person that is at work and they know that maybe the work culture there is making them to be subjective to routine activities. They think if they went to do the same routine activities, maybe in the city or out of that workplace, they would still feel much better, which is not true.
Exactly. Because look at this, all right? Look at this. This is like the routine procedure for, let's say, for a pharmacy technologist, right? They come into the office at 8 hours. They start to count pills. They count pills, put them in the pill packs. They open the dispensary. The patient starts coming in. Okay, they start dispensing. Take one tablet. Whatever, 3 times a day, whatever. And then it goes on like that up until they knock off. They go home. The following day, they come into the office. They count pills. They pack the pills. They dispense medicine. Every day you're doing the same thing. I mean, that's not the way life should be. So there has to be, I think, different way of doing things. Of course, not downgrading what is being done, because that's a core value of what pharmacy is. But what we're saying is there are other ways that we can use to improve the lives of the patients, to bring value to the lives of the patients.
Absolutely. Awesome. Now, talking of the pharmacy profession in particular, what is it that has contributed to lack of innovation in the recent past?
Well, that's a very interesting question. There are a number of reasons. Number one, I think we've touched it on that point a little bit. Number one is fear. Okay. I know many people out there who want to start up something, but they have the fear of failure. Because they think they're going to fail. Well, failure is not a bad thing in itself. What failure does is it just shows you that, okay, this is not the way that you can do this. There's another way that you can do it. That's what it means. So we need to embrace failure, not as a negative thing, but as a good thing to show us, say, okay, this is not the way you're supposed to do it. You can do it in this other way. I know probably from Zanga, even in the life of MedSage, they have encountered different challenges. They failed along the way, but they kept on going. They realized, okay, this is not the way that we do things. Maybe we can do it in this other way. So we need, number one, to be able to embrace failure. We need to understand that when you have a dream in you, when you have that dream in you to say, okay, I need this, I feel I can do something different here. I encourage you to go ahead and do it. Don't be afraid that you're going to fail, because failure is a good thing. Number two, it's commitment to the dream. All right. You have the dream in you. You can start working on your dream, but lack of commitment to that dream can make you fail along the way, and then you give up. Okay, so these are like one of those key things that I've seen that are a challenge, is fear of failure and the lack of commitment. The other thing is that, like I mentioned, we have become too comfortable with the status quo. We have become too comfortable with doing things the way we've been doing them for a long time. It's a different time. We're talking about the new dawn. You know what I mean? So, like, it's a different time.
This new dawn is just too much.
As young people in pharmacy, we need to understand that the sky is the limit.
Oh yeah.
The sky is the limit. We are not confined to the dispensary window. There are so many things that you can do out there.
Oh yeah.
Like, for instance, I'm an author. I just wrote a book about pharmacy. So these are some of the things that we should begin to see young pharmacy professionals do. They should go into doing so many things, not just about writing books. There are so many things that they can do. I encountered a young lady who developed a product that is used in asthma to treat asthma. It's like a roll-on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the name is Florence.
Oh, Florence.
Interesting young lady.
That's my classmate.
Yeah, interesting young. This is something that's never been done before. But here is this young lady who has a different mindset. She doesn't want to be normal. She wants to be abnormal. You know what I mean? So it takes
to get out of the norm.
Yeah, to get out of the norm. So that is what I feel we should be able to do.
The other unfortunate.
Can I contribute?
Yes, please.
I'll write on the last point he raised, being comfortable. And I think that is what has really delayed progress when it comes to innovation, not only in pharmacy but in other fraternities. We are too comfortable. The COVID-19 really shook all of us.
Oh yeah.
It really disturbed everything because the things that we were doing, what happened? We stopped doing them.
Oh yeah.
And we became uncomfortable. We all became uncomfortable with just sitting at home. We all became uncomfortable not being able to go buy food. We all became uncomfortable not being able to buy medication. Florence became uncomfortable with people not being able to asthmatic patients not being able to buy their perfect draw, and because we know majority of them are allergic, and she became uncomfortable with that, and she said, I'm going to do what? I'm going to change with the way things are. The problem, we become too comfortable, and when we become too comfortable, when the problem now comes, then we're in trouble. COVID-19 really shook us, and it found us at a time where we didn't have so many platforms, digital platforms, where people are able to get their services. If there's only one industry that was ready, that was ready, it was the food industry. For them, they were ready. Delivery of food was already there. People were buying food online. But when it came to other parts of the industry, especially pharmacy, we were not ready. And that is what made me and Joseph, Mr. Jokanema, to now move and say we have to move away from let's step up. Let's stop being comfortable. Let's move away fear. And fear, when you're comfortable, you know what happens to fear? It grows.
Oh yeah.
Because you're comfortable. So if you think of an idea and fear comes in and say you will fail, this will not work. No one will buy in your idea. You're okay with the way things are. You're okay with the way you look. Like, okay, if I don't move from where I am, come 20 years from now, you'll still be the same. While the world is doing what? While the world is moving, and you're comfortable being at one place. So move away from being comfortable. Move away from being in that comfortable space. Become abnormal. Overcome your fear, and innovation will come through.
Absolutely. Awesome. You know, you've actually made me to just remember something. Just in addition to what both of you have said, I don't know how to categorize this. Of course, I know it is not fear. Maybe I would term it as doubting, okay? Lack of self-belief. You see, we've got people that have got ideas quite all right, but to actualize them every moment, they think about going ahead to pursue them. They'll be like, if it's even a 7, I mean, who would believe that this can work here? Okay, each time you tell them, oh, how about this? Okay, you are what you are, but now can you try this? Other people might have even seen it in you. Then they encourage you, go for this. Then you'll be like, no, but moreover, and who even will I talk to? I guess that too has been a problem for so many people not to tap into innovation. All right. I guess you gentlemen have talked quite a lot, and you need to swallow up. You need to swallow up, and of course, clear your throats. So, having talked about that, I want to play a song walking away so that people can walk away from their old mood and old way of doing things. We'll break for a commercial and listen to that item of music. And when we come back, then we now talk about what areas can be explained. What are you laughing at? All right, we'll be back. Stay tuned for now.
I thought it was the perfect song for what you're talking about, right? You're walking away from the fear. So you're there of self-doubt.
Yeah.
This is innovative. No, we never have done this. You remember last time we told me we only dropped about 4 points. And we had like what?
Immediately we get into it. One thing I have to realize is sometimes as you are talking, but now I truly realize some people don't want to compromise. Well, I saw them with my own eyes, spreading those lies. Well, I don't want to live a lie. Too many sleepless nights, not mentioning the fights. Beside the same lady.
That's for the big my book guys are so down. They were so down. We so down too. I'm giving everything to you.
Oh yeah.
I thought that I should just give back to you. But just for this system, though, by the end of the year, but yeah, this is copies the money for what
Okay, welcome back. Meet your pharmacist on Capital FM 99.7. My name is Mark Lawrence, your weekly host, and together I am with pharmacist Joe Kanema and pharmacist Zanga Msakuzi. Pharmacist Zanga Msakuzi was actually my senior at the time we were doing a diploma. And this man, you know, he used to live in the next room. Sitenzoyangana na vija vakutati ngakateko my relations there, right?
That's how life is. You never know what tomorrow holds.
Oh yeah, it was so exciting actually when we were talking about this outside to just reminisce those memories and realize that we come from far and we even don't know in fact where we are going. Awesome. Okay, let us go back to where we left before we went on a break. And now, with all that, having talked about how so many people are afraid to get into entrepreneurship, I mean, no, not entrepreneurship, but getting into innovation. Let's tackle out a few key areas, those that we can, for the purpose of this platform, and educate the general public out there. Which of these areas are potential places or potential avenues for exploitation of innovation? Pharmacist Zanga.
Number one, it's pharmacognosy.
Oh yes.
To start with, 20, 50 years ago, we never had the convention medication that we had. I remember when I was not feeling well, my dad and my late grandmother would always partner up more like it's wrestling and then get some leaves, put in boiled water. And that is like when I had malaria. And they would definitely soak me into a blanket until I inhale all the steam that was coming. Yeah. And 2 days later, I would feel much better. And this was an area that even as we are doing our degrees, our bachelor's degrees, we do learn about them. But the moment when we finish school, what happens? We pack them. And we go to the ordinary way. Okay, now I'm just a pharmacist. I'm just going to be in the pharmacy, retail. Kamozu Kuseni, Kamozu Mazulu, Kamozu Useko, also now more. End of story. That's our life. But this is one platform that we're able to contribute. And I know if we're going to go the pharmacognosy way of us now getting the different plants that we have in Africa, we are able to contribute to GDP, especially here in Zambia. We're able now to come up with our own, formulate our own medication and contribute. It would have been nice that we as pharmacy personnel, if we took up the challenge of coming up with a different vaccine using our own natural ways. But yet again, we always go the conventional way, more of doubting ourselves again, more of being comfortable with getting medication from outside and using it as usual. But I think this is one area that we're able to use. Let's start formulating our own medication as Africa.
Oh, awesome. All right. If people were meant to think about it in this way, I wonder whether it would still leave their mindset the same. Why would it be, for instance, that some of the drugs, for instance, like antibiotics, all right, some people actually have to go as far as maybe into the bush to go and look for a certain plant, which they will get and then convert it in a step that should make the same people from where the plant was gotten to be administered at the point when they need it. For the people that saw, or for the people that see such a plant being extracted from that place, why does it not trigger in their mind to raise their curiosity and want to know what exactly they are looking for in that plant and how best can they make use of it in the right way? Now, that just does not happen to the plant alone. There are so many other things that we see. They are taken from one area where if they are converted, they are brought back into the same place where they were gotten from. And people don't realize that at all.
No, they don't. I'll give an example of the bamboo tree. Very vast here in Africa, but the bamboo tree is rich in vitamin C. It's rich in so many other nutrients. But this is one thing that we can learn from India. India goes a step further than just they've got so many plants and they extract that important component in that plant and you can come up with medication and later on that medication finds itself in its market where back here in Zambia. But yet again, you start pushing yourself and asking yourself, what is going on? The same plants that India has got, we have them here in Zambia, even vast. Why can't we move a step forward and move and come up with different medication? One problem that I've realized is documentation.
Oh, yeah.
With our friends from the Western country, they always document moving from one point because they know the next generation will be able to pick up and come up with something better. The problem that our forefathers, not to undermine them, but one of the weaknesses that they had was documentation. Up to now, I don't know what plant my grandmother was using, and my dad has already forgotten. If my grandmother had written that down to say, the plant I used, it looks like this and that, pick it up. Me as a pharmacist, that could have been my new way of becoming rich as usual.
Okay. Ibo muzalenga nyende kumunzi. Nkakambe na mamai. Don't steal my idea. I can see you're already getting your phone. Okay, fine. Let me turn to you, Pharmacist Kadema. Other than the area of pharmacognosy, which other way can be of potential exploitation as the pharmacy profession in terms of innovation?
Well, thank you so much. There are many. Yeah, I must make mention that there are many. We might not be able to discuss all of them here. But for me, my passion is in about three areas. Information.
Oh, yes.
Technology. And there's a new word that's coming up in pharmacy called pharmapreneur. So I'll start with technology. And I think that like what Zanga was talking about, looking at what the COVID-19 has done it has changed so many ways in which we do things, right? And we also need to appreciate technology in itself as the internet. It has changed and revolutionized the way we do things. And as pharmacy professionals, we need to move with this trend. Because if we remain behind, we're going to remain behind forever. But I know that in other developed countries, they are already moving with this trend. But I'm talking about the Zambia.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'm bringing it home here in Zambia that we need to move with technology. We need to move with the internet. We need to move to a situation where, number one, we need to get have access. People need to have access to the internet. For instance, information and technology. People need to have access to pharmaceutical information as easily as they can here in Zambia. So number one, when we talk about information, that's why I talked about being able to author books, not just books, journals, research as well. So we need to lead in front in terms of research, in terms of writing, so that we inform the public and we also inform ourselves as pharmacy professionals. Because number one, we need to know where we're coming from, we need to know where we are, and we need to know where we're going. How do we know this? Through writing. So this is an important component. Many of the books that we've been reading are written by people from other countries, not in Zambia. You know, we should start to embrace writing here in Zambia. We write things ourselves so that we're able to know what's happening, because no one knows what's happening here. So we need to bring it home. So that is on the information. On technology, this is what we've been talking about as to what Farm Zanga is doing and what we are doing as well. So I'll just be able to a little bit go deep into what we're doing at Wana Healthcare. So we've embraced technology as in e-commerce.
Okay.
All right? As in, we want to improve, like we said earlier, accessibility to healthcare products. All right? So someone doesn't necessarily need to go to the pharmacy, for instance, maybe to buy medicine, or maybe to buy any healthcare product. They can just go onto the internet, onto a website or to the application, and they can order whatever they want to order. This is improving accessibility, and that particular item can be delivered to the doorstep of that particular patient or that particular client. So this is how we should embrace technology, because this is coming. Time has come now. People don't want to go to the pharmacies, anytime. They can get whatever they want from the comfort of their home. And another thing that we should do as well is, look, people should be, I've seen, I think, whether it's telemedicine or something like that. I've seen an app somewhere where, someone can consult a doctor online. Okay, so we need to move in that direction. We need, because previously we just used to do it physically. You have to go to the hospital physically, but nowadays in other developed countries, you don't have to go to the hospital physically. You don't have to go to the pharmacy physically. So we need to embrace that. So we need to bring that home.
Okay.
Another thing that is important to talk about is pharmapreneurship.
Oh, yes.
Like I mentioned earlier, as pharmacy professionals, we have that technician mindset, but we need to change that technician mindset. We need to embrace and change our mind to have that entrepreneurial mindset in us to create jobs. Long time ago, I think there was only one high learning institution that used to offer, one or two that used to offer pharmacy, but now so many other institutions have come in. So you see that there's an increase in the number of pharmacists and pharmacy technologists on the market. So as pharmacy professionals, we should begin to provide employment. Okay, we should begin to go into businesses to be able to provide employment. And I can be able to tell you that the pharmaceutical industry is one of the most lucrative industries in the world. top 10, top 5, the pharmaceutical industry is there. But most of these big corporations and big companies are not run by pharmacists or pharmacy technologists themselves. They are run by other people, and that's wrong. That shouldn't happen. So we need to change our mindset. We should be able to say, okay, we can go into business, for instance, and be able to provide employment, not just us having the mindset of wanting to be employed, but we should be able to provide employment as well, because we know this. All right. So I think those are the key areas that we should be able to exploit as pharmacy professionals.
All right. Awesome. I think I can also talk about the area of research. Much of the research that has been done, to some extent, does not get harnessed ultimately. All right, it's all about bringing out information and then we give it out. Now, here is one funny thing. Actually, if there is something that is very, very critical, which people don't even expose anyhow, world all over around, is information. All right. So if actually we were to delve so much into research, and the same research we now put it to use, or we start actualizing some of the concepts that we discover out of research, research can actually become one big industry that so many people would want to delve in. So you see, research is not just about getting information and then it ends there. After you have known what the problem is, it will now expose you to the probable solutions, which you can further now dig in. Away from pharmacy, slightly away from pharmacy, I know of a certain gentleman, and I beg to be forgiven because I will mention his name. His name is Dumisani Ngube. All right. He gives out a testimony each time when he is talking to the general public that the program that he is doing right now, one of them that he is doing right now that has actually made him to excel very well, came in the process of his research. Okay, so a student did a research, and then after they identified the challenge and the problem, they went back and started now to study which areas can they improve lives. And I know that there are so many people out there that are doing research, including my classmates. I am as well doing my research right now. So the research is not just there to make you pass or maybe to graduate to the next level, but it should actually be something that one has to do with the intention of harnessing it. I'm also aware that there has to be an innovation of artificial intelligence. Pharmacist Kanema, before I branch away from you quickly, shed some bit more of light on here.
Thank you so much. And this is one of those things that I was talking about, that we need to embrace technology. We need to move with technology, because the world is no longer doing things the same way we used to do them 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So now we have we need also to embrace artificial intelligence as well. All right. We need also to embrace, for instance, I've been to a couple of high-end hospitals where I've seen a pharmacist who doesn't even count pills. So they've employed in robotics.
Okay.
That are able to count pills and be able to pack them in the pill packs, and then they dispense. The robots dispense the medicines.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So this is a direction that we should begin to move in. Okay. We should not just continue doing the same way we've been doing things. So we should embrace artificial intelligence. We should embrace technology as it is today, not just the way we've been doing things in the past.
Oh, yeah.
There are a number of inventions, like, for instance, or innovations for rather, that have been done. I've seen an acne treatment application before.
Okay.
So this is an app that you can use. It will help you to track down if you are on medication for acne. I've seen an innovation that will help you to track down your menstrual periods, for instance. Yeah, these are just small. They look small, but this is an innovation that we're talking about. That we need to begin to have young pharmacists, to just innovate, something that's never been done before. Maybe something that you can help you. Maybe, for instance, right now we have got a number of retail pharmacies that are opening up nearly any store, any corner here in Osaka. We should begin to think about this. Is an opportunity, like we were talking about. This is an opportunity for young pharmacy professionals to be able to look and say, okay, what if I developed an inventory system specifically tailor-made for the Zambian market, for Zambian retail pharmacies? No, nobody has done that, right? No, nobody's doing that. So we need to begin to see these loopholes, these opportunities that we can be able to tap into.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Pharmacist Zanga, before I invite you, let me step out this thought before it runs out of my head. You see, one of the things that can actually help us to reach out to our intended goals, be it innovation, be it advancement, all right, entrepreneurship and all that, is always to believe in your dreams. All right, we have got several people that have got a vision and do have a longing of wanting to get somewhere, but it's like this thing will just keep on eating them up, and they would rather die while wishing that they had actualized it, when yet in the actual sense this dream was probably given to them for a reason by God. Okay, we see how people have ended up excelling through dreams. All right, Joseph was one of the dreamers, and his dream made him even to become prime minister. So I'm speaking to everybody that actually has got a dream right now. Don't belittle it, because you have no idea. Probably that dream, you are the only one who has it. And so if you die without sharing it, if you die without harnessing it, trust me, a lot of other people that were going to break through, of course, in you as a channel, would end up actually suffering terribly. Pharmacist, I saw you nodding your head and very itching to talk.
I'm agreeing to both of you what you've said. Believe in your vision, have a vision.
Oh, yes.
The number one question that you should ask yourself each and every day when you wake up: what is my purpose today? Why was I given a breath of life today? Why has God permitted me to live today? I always give an example of myself. Even together with the application that we've developed, it is because of the vision that I had. And it came about when a friend of mine lost an uncle who was in Mbala. And it hurt me so much because I was supposed to send medication to Mbala. But the hurting part was that medication was already in Mbala.
Oh, my.
That's the hurting part.
You see, I've experienced it too.
Very much true. And then that is now why I was asking. I didn't want to do pharmacy. Like, I grew up playing with computers. My first computer was a Macintosh.
Okay.
And my dad bought the computer way back in 1990. I had that computer. And for me, what was in my mind was what? Just wanted to do IT.
Okay.
Then my dad told me, do pharmacy. I believe. I don't know what my dad saw in me, but he said, I believe you'll become a great pharmacist. Later on, when the first year when we did pharmacy, the first year at Evelyn Horn was the worst year ever for my life.
Wow.
I didn't know what I was doing until I went to dispense at Rowan Hospital. And then that is when I knew my purpose.
Wow.
So this lady was in pain. So she came by the pharmacy. I love joking. Wherever I am, I love making people laugh. So she came at the pharmacy and she was in pain. And I knew she was uncomfortable. So to cheer her up, I cracked a joke while I was giving her medication. And in that moment, she forgot about the pain. And she laughed and I gave her medication and I wished her well. And she went back. And up to now, I still remember that woman. And I knew from that moment onwards, my purpose was to make a difference in the pharmacy fraternity.
Wow.
And that was my vision, and that has been my vision. And that is the reason why we had to come up with the application, because I wanted to contribute. I want my vision to become true. I was not just born to be born, live and die. No, I was born to make a difference. And now this brings back me to the question that you had asked. What impact? What can we do? What other areas can we exploit? One area that pharmacist Joe brought about was we are having so many pharmacy schools coming up.
Yes.
And one of the students in the 5th year at Apex University made a joke. He was like, I don't know by the time we'll be finishing school if we'll find a job. I'm like,
really?
I'm like, yes, really. I'm like, no, look, to start with, research.
Yeah.
We do really need research in Zambia. I was talking about pharmacognosy. Why can't majority of the students now move away. Moving away from, let me finish school, do my internship, cover in a pharmacy, or work in the hospital. Move away from
Or
that.
the NGO.
Yes, move away. Like
Nifuna ntchito ine kuchanyu.
this cycle of doing the same thing over and over again has made us be where we are.
Oh, yeah.
Let's try to change things. Let's move into research now. Artificial intelligence. The shocking part is there are companies, there are countries already that are having now robots who are dispensing of medication.
Okay.
Now, if we
So
as well-
ndani muzambo sevenza kumaende.
now this is something that should now make people become uncomfortable doing the same thing over and over again. We should now exploit other areas. What other areas can we go into? Information. Imagine now, majority of the people would say, look, if I finish, okay, I'm not going to do the old way, apply for a job in government, or I'm going to open up my own pharmacy. I'm going to have a physical pharmacy. This is why now pharmacist Kanema comes in, and this is why I do come in. Because now people are moving on from physical things to online things.
E-work, yes.
E-work.
As it were.
Yes. Now people are able to order medication online. People are able to see a doctor, a pharmacist online. These are areas now people should move away from doing the same thing over and over again and come up with something new. And this is what we've been trying to emphasize. Education plus innovation will move this country forward. Let's stop doing same things over and over again. Doing the same thing over and over again, that's the definition of insanity.
Exactly.
Absolutely. All right, now, gentlemen, again, you've talked much. I want us to go again on a break. And when we come back, I will give you now the opportunity to just expand briefly on the hints that you've given us about the works that you are doing in line with innovation. But as we go on a break, here is something that I just want to bring out very strongly. You see, to those that have got adolescents in form of young brothers, okay, in form of children at home, let's be very careful what we support them to do, all right? Let's allow them to go in line with pursuing something of their interest. This is the reason why we have got people that have done certain things which eventually they don't even practice fully. Okay, if somebody has got interest in something, let's find every possible way to support them to actualize it, as opposed to just forcing them to go ahead and look for their employment in something that they train for. Coming up next is a track entitled I Am a Believer. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope it will speak to you.
I love this song, man. I love this drum. There's another remix done by Zambia.
World so cold, and my own damn heart is making fun of me. Don't need no miracle. See tomorrow right in front of me. I'm on my own, and nobody knows who we can come to be. Come along, never know who we can set free. I close my eyes and I run to you. I can't close my heart till I know the truth. I'm a believer. We need a believer.
That's
I got a believer. Need a believer. 'Cause I'm a believer. I'm a believer. I'm a believer. We need a believer. Is there one so bold that will raise a hand and join a good fight? There's a legend told, so who's gonna show us what it looks like? Is it you out there? You never know who it could be. You can come on home and lead us to love, 'cause we believe. I close my eyes and I run to you. I can't close my heart.
welcome back to Meet Your Pharmacist. That was a track done by James Fauntleroy, and it features Timbaland, I'm a Believer. What do you believe in? See, I believe in my dreams. I believe in going for the impossibility, and much more, I believe in bringing and making change. It doesn't matter what sort of change it is, for as long as it is change, even if it is change that you have never seen before. I believe in that. And talking about change, these gentlemen that I am here with have made tremendous work, which absolutely has made a different outfit to the complex. Has given a different outfit to the profession of pharmacy. And in my hands right now is a very nice book that I encountered barely just few days ago, and I didn't even know about its existence not until it was launched at some important function where we were. This book is written by pharmacist Joe Kanema. I will ask him, of course, to give us some light on how come he wrote it and maybe what even compelled him to write it. Now, not only this, pharmacist Zanga has also talked about MedSearch, which is a very interesting application. Very soon, I will allow him to give light to the general public on what MedSearch really is. Now, talking about this book, I came across some interesting reading in it. And one of them actually is coming from my very close friend and my classmate. His name is Elia Muyaba. He wrote in this book and said a whole pharmacy profession cannot be confined to the window only. Something very, very interesting and something that is very true. I also did come across some writing by a very exceptional woman who right now is equally doing her studies. She's also trying to upgrade and become a pharmacist, and her name is Shani Gracious. Other than Shani Gracious, we have got Mr. Chindo Mutale that wrote in this book and said, "Dear young pharmacy professional, the government is not the only place where your services are required," which is very true. And let me brag a little bit and make mention that seeing that it's not only government that requires our services, I decided to come and be here at Capital FM and bring the service that pharmacy can be able to do. Okay. Let me read out a very quick one here, and it's coming from another comment coming from Stuart Mdenda. Now, Stuart Mdenda is actually a supervisor of research and also my lecturer at the University of Zambia. He wrote in this book and said, after school, many people will go in different directions as they try to pursue their desires of their hearts and discover themselves. The extent as to how high you can go in pharmacy or career does not depend on anyone but yourself. Let me just look out for one more comment of pharmacist Gracious. Okay, if I find that one, I will still make reference to it. But at this point, pharmacist Kanema, tell us a little bit about this book. What compelled you to write this book, or perhaps where do you derive your passion for writing from? Is writing part of you, or you just wrote this as one of the things that you were killing a buzz out of yourself in?
Thank you so much. I believe without a shadow of doubt that I was born to write, and I'm just getting started. So yeah, you will be able to see many books from me. Yeah, it is something that I'm passionate about. I love writing. I'm passionate about this. This book, like what Fam Zanga said, I never wanted to be a pharmacist, let alone be in a health profession, whether nurse or doctor or anything. I never wanted to do anything like that. Maybe I could have become an evangelist, maybe.
Of course, your handsome looks, yes, do appear to be an evangelist. The gospel could be well spread that way.
Yeah, so...
That was another commercial break.
Yeah, but... I've grown to love this profession so much, and I believe this is what I was meant to do. Even though that time I never really thought that I'll be a pharmacist, but I believe I was born to do this.
Oh, yeah.
So when I was starting out in this profession, I made a lot of mistakes. And at that time, after reflecting on what the mistakes that I made as I started out in this journey of pharmacy, I realized that if I had someone who assisted me, or who gave me advice, who gave me a blueprint of how I'm supposed to go about, in my career, perhaps I would not have made so many mistakes. All right, so that's where this book came out from. So I decided to write this book to provide a blueprint
Okay.
for young pharmacists, young pharmacy technologists in general. It doesn't matter whether you're a pharmacist or a pharmacy technologist. We are the same. So for young pharmacy professionals to navigate, to go through this career properly. So what we've provided in this book is like a blueprint.
Okay.
To say, okay, we've talked about so many things. We've talked about integrity, for instance, how integrity is important to you as a pharmacy professional. We've talked about, for instance, what you read, we've talked about not confining yourself to the dispensary. And this has been like the main topic that we've discussed here. As young pharmacy professionals, we've provided this blueprint to say, look, the dispensary is not the only place where your services are needed. There's so much that you can do. Like we are talking about here, you can innovate. You can go into, technology. You can go into, even like what you're doing right here. I don't know how many pharmacists are doing what you're doing. Probably there are very few, or maybe you are the only one. You are into media. So you can do so much. I know a friend of mine, a pharmacist, who's into photography, for instance. So the sky is the limit.
Oh, yes.
You are not only confined to the dispensary. So there are a number of nuggets for young pharmacy professionals, advice, even from gurus in the profession who provided their advice, because they've been there for a long time. They've seen it all, so they've provided that way, for young pharmacy professionals. And I encourage young pharmacy professionals, most especially, to be able to get this book, because it is going to provide a blueprint for them to go through this interesting, this wonderful journey of pharmacy. Yeah.
And of course, it's something that is causing people to be uncomfortable and making them to realize that they have to up their game. Competition is all over. I think as we wind up, as we get to the time when we will be winding up, which is actually going to be in the next few minutes, we will talk about the more reason now why should we have innovation, and considering now that the future is here and it's coming up with certain things that we were not even ready for. What other time would it be better to tap into innovation other than now? Of course, I have come across the comment that I was looking for by Shemi Gracious. Now, Shemi Gracious is a very exceptional lady who is into leadership and has taken so many roles, very, very helpful in the profession so far. She wrote here, just trying to concur with a statement that I made before, that when you wake up in the morning every day, you will have to decide to love what you do. So one of the ways in which actually you will be compelled to go further into whatever you're doing is always go after the thing that you love most. I believe Pharmacists Zanga is one of those that love what they do, because they have come up with this interesting application which is called MedSearch. Tell us a little bit about it.
So MedSearch Zambia is an application that you're able to download either on your iPhone or Android phone. You're able to download either on Google Play Store or App Store. Me and my co-founder, Dr. Matau, love telling the story. 5 years ago, I mentioned about my friend who lost the ankle in Mbala. And he was busy calling me to say, do you know where I can find this medication from? And we were busy running up and down, trying to find which pharmacy. And as pharmacy personnel, there's one thing that when it comes to looking for medication, we're united. I'm able to call pharmacist Joe and say, I'm looking for this medication, and he'll be able to tell me where I can find it. But we realized one thing about that person who's got no friend in the medical field. How do they go about looking for a cardiologist if you're not feeling well? How do they go about looking for breast cancer screening? Remember, October is a breast cancer awareness month. So how do people go about knowing which place they're able to go to? So we thought of something. How about if we created a platform A platform where people are able to find the nearest pharmacy, nearest hospital, regardless of where they are. And this is not just one pharmacy, a variety of pharmacies. This is not just one hospital, but a variety of hospitals where able now, one, where able to know what services they offer. The application will be able to tell you that. The application not only tell you what services they offer, but you're able to book an appointment with a doctor. Majority of the times, people will go to a hospital and wait for about 4 hours just to see a doctor. But with the message Zambia app, one person is able to make an appointment on the phone, and the message will be sent to you to say your appointment with a doctor is at 10 hours, and you go there and your appointment will be set. And a platform, an application that we've created, the MedSearch Zambia app, helps you find that prescribed medication.
Okay.
You're a pharmacy personnel, you know when a patient is prescribed that one rarely known drug, they'll move from one place to another just looking for that medication. So we thought about them, let's create an application where people will be able to search for a drug, and the application will tell them where they can find that drug. It not only show them where they are, but the phone number will be there. The pharmacy, not only that drug, but in that pharmacy, all the medication that they have, the application will be able to tell you. And this is a platform that we created. Why did we do this? The greatest challenge is access to health information remains a challenge. And this is why we came up with this application to bridge that gap.
Wow.
During the COVID-19, and this is what government is trying to do, we're trying to reach 30% vaccinating the Zambian population. What we did last year during the third wave is we were able to place all COVID-19 vaccination sites on the application.
Wow.
And people were able to know, instead of moving one place to another or calling a friend, people were able to know where exactly they're able to go to. And this is what we're also working on with the NEMA accredited facilities. We're adding all the NEMA accredited facilities on our application. This making it easy now for you who's contributing to the insurance, to the Zambian insurance company. You'll be able now to know which pharmacy can I go to, and my NEMA, where I'm able to collect NEMA accredited services. The application will be able to help you do that. All this.
Wow.
To ensure that, one, Zambia attains the SDG number 3, ensuring that access to health information is available not only for few people, but for every Zambian. Ministry of Health has got one goal, the universal health coverage goal. They want to ensure that the person in Imbala, the person in Southern Province will be able to know where they're able to go to get all their health services instead of wasting time. And this is the application that we created, the MedSearch Zambia app, an application that is helping you find the nearest hospital, make an appointment, and the future is that we're trying now to create a consultation room on the application. You'll be able to consult a doctor while just at home. You won't be able to move up and down just in the comfort of your home. The MedSearch Zambia app will be able to do that.
Wow.
That is the application we created.
Absolutely, absolutely awesome. Of course, a very quick disclaimer alongside what has been said here is that these gentlemen here are talking in their individual capacity. Now, I know that they work for different workplaces, but they are here as drug experts. So they are talking not on behalf of ABCD and so professional body, which is not really the case here. They are talking simply to expose how much they've been inspired with the knowledge that they have in the profession. Unfortunately, I wish I had the luxury of time on my side, and I know that there are so many things that we could still go on and on and on to talk about. But let me give you this privilege, maybe before we trickle down to the end of the show, and just highlight the following things. Like I did mention before, the future is here. We talked about the future of coming maybe in so and so time, but the future is actually here right now, and it is coming with so many unpredictable things. The trend of diseases is growing. Okay, the burden is becoming heavier by day. All right, and as though that is not enough, interesting enough, we are manufacturing personnel who seem not to be featuring right in line with the disease burden that we are currently experiencing. How then can we prepare for the future, considering the reality at present and also the abundance of the knowledge that we have? Pharmacist Kanem.
Thank you so much. So even when you talk about, I think you mentioned about manufacturing. Yeah, so what I've seen, I think even in our profession in Zambia, it's I'm happy with what I'm seeing. What we need to do, because long time ago we were little, and even we didn't specialize so much. But what I'm seeing is that a different number of pharmacists are specializing. I think Another point that we should have talked about was also advancement, especially for instance in clinical pharmacy as well, advancement in pharmacology and pharmaceutics as well. There are innovations, there are so many in there. So what I've seen is that a number of pharmacists are specializing in these different areas. So what they're doing is they are positioning themselves for the manufacturing industry,
Ahead, which is
because
to come.
I believe this is coming.
Oh, yes.
Or should I rather say it's already here? But this is something that I'm seeing many, pharmacists are positioning themselves. They are specializing in these different areas because they want to be absorbed by this need that is coming. And I feel that's a good thing. And that's how we should be able to position ourselves as well in these different areas. Let's say, for instance, I know a friend of mine who has positioned himself in the area of project management. He's a pharmacy technologist who has done project management. So I've not come across any pharmacy technologist who has done project management. He's probably the only one in the whole country. So he's positioned himself in a niche area.
Oh, yeah.
So you need to be able to see a niche.
Oh, yeah.
And position yourself in that area.
Right towards it.
All right. So number one is to answer your question, how do we position ourselves? In number one, we need to see a niche. So it's the same thing we're talking about, like a gap.
Oh, yeah.
So once you see a niche, once you see a gap, then you need to understand that gap, what it is, what you need to bring to the table, what is it going to require of you. So you need to understand that area well, such that you position yourself. When you understand, you position yourself. My bishop says, when you prepare yourself, even when something comes, it will be easy for you to handle it.
Oh, yes.
All right. Even when you prepare yourself, it means that you attract that thing that you're looking for. So that is what we need to do as pharmacy professionals. In these gaps, we should, number one, see the gaps. Number two, then we should be able to prepare ourselves, position ourselves for that gaps. Preparation. So let's say, for instance, you want to go into research, innovation into research, then you need to be able to understand this field of research. Let's say you want to go into consultancy. Like, for instance, I'm also into consultancy. I'm a CEO of PMP Pharmacy Consultancy. So I positioned myself. I taught myself. I understood what is required of me in that area. So this is what we should do. We should be able to understand what is required of us in that area, prepare ourselves, teach ourselves, learn, and then we'll be able to do what is required of us in that innovative area.
Wow, wonderful. We are really, really running out of time. But Pharmacist Zanga, here's one more thing that I would ask you to just quickly elaborate. We have got growing numbers in terms of professionals who are being trained, and the competition in terms of getting employment obviously will get high. What would be your word to such a one who is training, who has trained, and their only hope is in getting a job?
Be innovative. Pharmacist Joe has, if you've read the book to start with, buy his book and read the book.
Oh, yes.
And let us have a change of mindset. The change of mindset, let's move away from I should be employed by the government only. We're in pharmacy. We've mentioned so many places, so many sectors we're able to exploit. There is research, there is clinical pharmacy, there is manufacturing. All these are...
In fact, not to put words in your mouth, another way that I have seen which may need exploitation is the area of insurance. I hear of some companies, like in Nigeria, where pharmacists have come up with an insurance company, and they are doing insurance for pharmacy business, okay? In our case, we are insuring our businesses outside to other companies, which is still okay. But if as pharmacy we were able to insure fellow pharmacy businesses, that would be an enhancement.
This at the end of the day comes to an individual. What is your purpose in life? If your purpose in life is working for other people, what legacy are you going to leave behind? If you're going to be doing everything that everyone is doing, let me tell you something, your name will be forgotten the moment they bury you. But if you're going to do something different, moment, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years from now, people will be able to remember to say every week on Capital FM, we're able to listen to Pharmacists, McLaurin's, and we were able to be educated. Because you're leaving a legacy, you change your mindset. You don't want to be doing the same thing over and over again, because that is your purpose. Your purpose is to simplify health information to the patient out there. That is the oath that we made, and oath where we're able to help and make health information and health services as easy as possible to the patients out there. That is my purpose as a pharmacist.
Wow. Wonderful. As we even say goodbye right now, Pharmacist Kanema, in one sentence of 4 words, what would be your last message?
In one sentence of 4 words.
That already is a sentence.
Well, so I think my closing remarks would be that let's not be content with where we are with the dispensary. The sky is the limit for pharmacy. There's so much that we can do, especially in Zambia. Our profession is growing. We haven't reached, that level where we're able to contribute at a bigger proportion in this country. So I call upon, young pharmacy professionals. I'm specifically saying young because we are the vibrant ones.
Oh, yes.
Yes, we are the ones with the energy. We have so many ideas. So it is our time to push this great profession of pharmacy to another level.
Oh, yes.
And it's not just about, being in the dispensary. So basically, that's my closing remark.
Wonderful. Pharmacist Zanga, do you have any last words?
Live a purposeful life. Leave a legacy that people will be able to remember you. And those are my closing remarks.
Wonderful.
You are not just born to live. You are born to make a difference in this world. Make that difference.
Wonderful. Listeners and those that are following on Facebook, those that are tuning in directly to the radio station, we want now to say goodbye. Thank you very much for having been with us. We look forward to being with you next week. Allow me to pay tribute to the following. First of all, my technician, Monica, ever gorgeous as always. Thank you very much for taking care of everything in here, both the camera and the music. And His Excellency Ambassador Frank Mutubila, thank you very much for the provision and for the accommodation. My manager, Mr. Jeremiah Mwamba, thank you once again to you. I salute, and not forgetting one other gorgeous lady, my manager at Meet Your Pharmacist, Mrs. Mwela. This has been your weekly host for Meet Your Pharmacist. Until next time, same place, same time, we look for
Message Zambia app. Healthcare simplified.